So then what is the problem, the concern about what happened?
So the concern is twofold. One, on a technical basis, under the Inspector General Act, the president, any president, may remove an inspector general, but has to do so with notice to Congress. So 30 days before the removal, the president has to notify Congress and provide substantive rationale about that individual inspector general and identify the reasons for the removal. So this is not a cursory sort of statement. This is an important part of it. It's not a technicality. This is an important element because it gives the Congress the opportunity to weigh in and ensure that there's not political retribution going on or some sort of inappropriate motivation there. And so that's the key here is that failure to notify and provide Congress an opportunity to weigh in. That's an important principle. It's an important protection of the independence of inspectors general.
Are you getting any sense from Congress, particularly from Republicans in Congress, that there's going to be an appetite to push back on this?
Well, I would certainly hope so. I think we have to engage with Congress. I think folks are becoming more and more aware of the situation and the facts that are actually sort of developing as we speak. We found out about 2 more IGs that were removed over the weekend, and so we're sort of sifting through the rubble right now, frankly. And that is what I'm hoping is that the folks in Congress who are our primary customers, they are the consumers of the reports, the investigations, the audits that we produce. They are primary stakeholders for us, so they have a specific, they have an equity at play here to ensure that we are independent in what we do. And so I would hope that they would step up and preserve that principle.
I want to play something that Senator Lindsey Graham said yesterday. This is number 1.
The law says he's supposed to give you 30 days notice. He didn't do that. Do you think he violated the law?
Well, technically, yeah, but he has the authority to do it. So I'm not, losing a whole lot of sleep that he wants to change the personnel out.
I mean, why isn't he right that this does become a technicality, right? I understand your point about the need or the desire on the part of Congress to say, hey, explain it to us. We want the reasoning before we just accept this. But if Congress isn't going to push back, right, if Congress and the Republicans in the Senate, let's say, or in the House are going to say, you know what, in the end, Donald Trump has the power to do this. Yeah, he should have waited the 30 days. Yes, he should have given us the explanation. We'll ask for a little bit more, but we're just not going to make a big deal about it. What is wrong with him saying technically or viewing it more of a technicality?
Well, Dan, you're a lawyer like I am. It's a little disconcerting when you think about just the waving off and the dismissal of statutory requirements. That is, we're in the ethics and compliance business in terms of the inspectors general, and so it is troubling to me that we would sort of pick and choose which provisions should be enforced and which ones shouldn't be enforced. That's not a good spot, I think, for us as a country, a nation of laws, and so that's why this is not a slippery slope that I think we want to descend down.
Let me ask you a final question. So this is Jack Goldsmith, Harvard Law professor, co-founder of Lawfare, prominent constitutional expert, has said the following about the law you're talking about. It's number 4. He said the Trump administration has a pretty strong argument that the notice provision is unconstitutional. He goes on to say it's a good bet that the Supreme Court will not look kindly on Congress's requirement of a substantive rationale and notice for firing the IGs. It sounds like he is basically saying if this goes to the courts, that provision you're talking about won't be upheld.
Yeah, that may be. I am not a constitutional lawyer, and so I would leave that up to the 9 justices in the Supreme Court ultimately. But I think that the larger principle here is beyond the notice provision, is the potential for politicization of the inspector general positions. That's the key concern here. It's not the 30 days of the notice provision or what have you. It's the potential creeping politicization, the polarization of the inspector general positions. That's what keeps me up at night, Dan, and that's what I would argue is the larger picture here. We need to preserve that apolitical oasis that the inspectors general represent. That is where we get our integrity, our credibility is based on that apolitical status, that independent status, where we're not beholden to any political party of either side.
Thanks for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your screen, and don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.